tonight on Southern Newsweek. Special Rigs for Special Kids celebrates 26 years of putting smiles on children's faces. Corporal Alistair Buchanan's body is returned to Southland, and a Ralph Hotore artwork returns to the Hocken Library. Kia ora, I'm Sophie Morris. Clear skies made for big smiles last Sunday, helping to make this year's Special Rigs for Special Kids a huge success. The annual event, which sees children treated to a truck ride around Dunedin, is now in its 26th year and still going strong.
Huge juggernauts manoeuvring through South Dunedin streets. Special Rigs for Special Kids has been a fun day out for special needs youngsters since 1992. This year, more than 200 trucks and hundreds of children enjoyed the good weather on their trip from South Dunedin over 3 Mile Hill, through Mosgiel and back to the start point at the Edgar Centre in South Dunedin. Accompanying parents say the scale and quality of the event are impressive.
It was cool. I didn't realise how many people actually come out for it, so it was quite surprising. It's good.
Oh, it's really great. You know, the weather's fine. The trip round Mosgiel and back again was great, and a good job by the truck drivers. An excellent day.
All the companies, the truck drivers, the people at Edgar Centre, everything is just absolutely incredible, and seeing the smile on the children's faces it's a 1 in a million.
On their return to the sports centre, a barbecue lunch, drinks and entertainment were provided to the lucky youngsters. Event founder and organiser Greg Inch says the main objective is to give children a memorable day.
Basically, it's to give a special needs child a truck and a driver for the day and just go and experience it. That's what it's about. It's an experience. You can do a lot of things raising money, but you can never overlook an experience, and this is all we do. It's simple.
Inch says along with the drivers, there are a lot of other people who donate time and resources to make the occasion the success that it is.
You've got to remember there's traffic management, there's like even feeding people. There's 2,500 sausages, 1,000 meat patties. There's just a huge amount.
When Greg Inch started the event in 1992, he did not expect to be still at it 26 years later.
I thought 6 or 7 years, and it might sort of die a natural death like a lot of other events, but it just keeps going. The support's there for it, and it happens.
And while the annual event is not primarily a fundraiser, it does conclude with an evening function for the drivers with a charity auction raising money for various good causes. In Dunedin, for the South Today.
After more than 60 years since losing their loved one, a Southland soldier's family has finally been put at ease. The nationwide repatriation of servicemen who died overseas includes the family of Alistair Buchanan from Southland.
Flanked by family members, the casket of SAS Corporal Alistair Buck Buchanan is laid to rest. Corporal Buchanan died of a heart attack while serving with the NZSAS in 1957 and was buried in Malaysia. His remains were repatriated on Saturday, with the president of the Awarua RSA describing it as a brother who's finally returned home.
It's very special. 24 years ago, when we rededicated the cenotaph in Invercargill to record the Southeast Asia conflicts, I was on that committee that we got Alice's name put on the memorial in Invercargill because there was nowhere else. And now, 24 years later, to finally be here to see it happen. Last year I visited his grave in KL and laid a poppy then, but now he's come home, and I feel as though a brother's come back.
Corporal Buchanan was buried in a family plot at the Wallistown New Cemetery near Invercargill. Ian Becker says he's shed tears and his comrade's body should never have been left there.
I've shed tears, too many, and it should never have happened, as far as I'm concerned. It was a real bad indictment on cost-saving measures that was made by some bureaucrat in Wellington who had no thought for the blood and sweat and tears.
He says Corporal Buchanan's return is personally satisfying, and he believes they've done him proud. For those present, it wasn't a final goodbye, but more a welcome home.
We wanted to make it special for him, hence the flags. the Guard of Honour, and just personalise a little bit.
Corporal Buchanan was one of the 27 former servicemen who died while serving in Asia between 1955 and 1971 and has been repatriated under the New Zealand Defence Force project Te Aoraki. At Invercargill, the South Today.
Ranfurly's new hospital is on schedule to be open for its first patients early next year. Members of the public have been treated to a sneak preview of the new Tyrone Street facility.
Taking a tour of Ranfurly's new hospital, the public get a chance to see progress on the new $7 million Maniototo hospital, which is already a week ahead of schedule. The public open day was arranged in response to community interest in the project.
Yeah, the feedback from the community has been tremendous. A lot of people were going past regularly watching and quite amazed how fast it's going up.
And the local community has contributed to the $7 million project with their own fundraising.
It's probably been a really magnificent community effort from the day we first talked about it in the hall right through now. It's been outstanding, and as I mentioned before, we've raised over $1 million just locally, which is a tribute to the community.
The new facility is set to have 26 beds and replaces a much older building.
Our old hospital is old, and so we had to do something. So we went to the community in October 2016, which is just under 2 years ago, and put the proposition to them. We got a good reception, and we started fundraising, and we're in a position now where the build is well on the way through.
Construction started in April this year, and the hospital is on target to be fully operational by early next year. In Ranfurly for the South Today.
One of the most famous large works by Port Chalmers artist Ralph Hotore has moved across town. The 5-metre triptych hung at the University of Otago's Richardson building for 3 decades, but has now been reinstalled at its former home.
Rain has returned to the Hocken Library. Dunedin artist Ralph Hotore's 5-metre 3-panel artwork Rain was reinstalled in the foyer of the Hocken Library today.
And it was made in 1979 for the installation in the recently completed Hocken building.
It took a team of about 10 staff more than half an hour to carefully hang the 3 panels in place. Hocken Collections head curator Robin Notman says that the 3 panels were last on display in 2011.
So originally they were in the Hocken building on campus, but since 2007 they've been down here at the Hocken building in Anzac Avenue, where they've been in storage, and they've also been fully conserved.
The artwork was commissioned by the university in 1979 to be displayed in the then recently completed Hocken building, which is now known as the Richardson. They hung there for nearly 30 years. The originals were removed in 2007 because of concerns about their condition, and replicas were installed in their place. Notman says the 60th anniversary of the Burns Fellowship seems a fitting time to bring the originals out again.
So one of the reasons we wanted to bring them out is because they're conserved, we're able to show them again. And also we wanted to celebrate or put an artwork up to commemorate the Burns 60th.
The artwork was inspired by poet Hone Tufare, who's a close friend of Hotore's and himself a Burns Fellow. The banners are likely to be on display until mid-2019 to coincide with the university's 150th anniversary celebrations. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Coming up after the break on Southern Newsweek. Hundreds of ukuleles jam at Dunedin's Tahuna Intermediate, and the Southern Bell screening campaign enlists the help of heroes. Welcome back. Maoraki restaurateur Fleur Sullivan has been left shocked and saddened by a burglary at her restaurant. Tens of thousands of dollars worth of food was stolen from freezers several weeks ago after the locks were drilled open to gain access.
A quiet haven attacked by hungry robbers at night. The popular restaurant Fleur's Place at Moiraki has had tens of thousands of dollars worth of seafood, meat and other items stolen from 2 freezers outside the building. restaurateur Fleur Sullivan is dismayed at the loss.
All my beautiful sausages made from my pit iron sheep and salamis, you name it, they've taken it. Everything that's sort of like you're a squirrel and you've got it all stored up to use when you need it, gone.
It's been 3 weeks since the theft and Sullivan is disappointed no one has come forward with information.
I'm really disappointed, mainly really disappointed that no one has told us anything. Like, somebody knows where it is and where it went.
And she's not looking forward to installing security cameras to the iconic restaurant.
Now I have to look at security lights and cameras, which we get people from all over the world here every single day. Every country never ceases to amaze me where people come from. And I don't want them to see my building cameraed up.
Police say their investigation is continuing. A $5,000 reward has been offered for any information that could lead to the apprehension of the offender or offenders. In Moiraki for the South Today.
Dunedin's 9th annual ukulele jam kicked off at Tahuna Intermediate with hundreds of children coming together from across the region. The 2-day event continues tomorrow with another 500 children setting their ukuleles for strum.
Ukes set for strum. They've got ukuleles and they're not afraid to use them. 500 school pupils from across Otago are converging on Dunedin for a 2-day ukulele jam. Organiser Ruth Buchanan says ukuleles have hit the right note with the youngsters.
It's a wonderful opportunity for all our students and teachers to come together and play ukulele, enjoy singing songs with all the students and having a chance to further their skills in ukulele.
Buchanan says the event is becoming so popular they're having to turn kids away, and it's an issue organisers are planning to solve by holding a bigger event next year.
We would really like to have an event next year where we don't have to turn so many children away. We've got 1,000 children playing over 2 days and we've had to turn away about 200 or 300. So we'd like to bring it all together next year and have one big event.
The 500 pupils taking part in today's ukulele jam were also treated to a masterclass in West African drumming from Kofi Fuga. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A new campaign is using familiar faces in a bid to change attitudes towards bowel cancer. The Southern District Health Board's new campaign features 8 well-known people from the South. The aim is to encourage more people to take part in the National Bowel Screening Program.
First guys I played in the front row with for Southern was 5 was picked and 3 are dead, all with cancer. It's quite a scary thing.
Watching themselves on the big screen. The Southern District Health Board's new campaign to encourage more people to take part in the National Bowel Screening Program has just been launched. The campaign features well-known local people such as former All Black Lester Rutledge, whose father died of bowel cancer at age 52.
Lately I've experienced a bit of cancer, not in the bowel but another part of my body, and so I guess for me it's about being aware of what may be inside your body, and I've been getting scans, regular scans and colonoscopies and things like that for the last year or so.
Health Minister David Clark says the Champions campaign is to promote participation in the bowel screening program.
Well, the Champions are local people who are known locally and represent different sectors of the community. It's really important that people hear the stories about what a difference it can make in people's lives to have this screening done, because we know screening saves lives, but the challenge is to get people to do the screening, return the tests and so on, and that's what these Champions are pushing for.
Southern residents are among the first in the country to benefit from the new program due to the high rate of bowel cancer in the south, and Clark says the new program will help save lives.
And it's anticipated that around 100 people over the first 2 years of the program running will have cancer picked up early, and that'll mean better quality of life, and in many cases also will mean that people's lives will be saved.
The new bowel cancer screening program is free for men and women between 60 and 74 years of age, with the program intending to reach more than 50,000 residents across Otago and Southland. In Invercargill for the South Today.
School pupils around the region have been donating cans of food towards the annual Salvation Army Watties Cans for Good Appeal. Now in its 25th year, the collection scheme helps restock Salvation Army food banks around the regions.
Sorting out donated cans of food, schools in the Clutha region have collected food cans to go to the annual Salvation Army appeal. Belclutha Primary Principal Paddy Ford says it helps teach pupils that charity is not just for impoverished countries overseas, but can be much closer to home.
Charity is not just for World Vision, where we support somebody, but also that we work locally as well to help families that are in need or people that for one reason or another need a bit of help.
The schools used different ways of getting pupils to give cans, from mufti days to inter-house competitions. Tokomariro High School head boy Reuben Wilson says they all had a spare can or two for donation.
There's so many families out there that don't have these kind of luxuries in life, or the food, they just don't have it. And everyone's really got a can in their cupboard that I'm sure they could donate to people who really need it.
South Otago High School head boy Mason Terrell says it's in the school's ethic to help those in need.
Personally, I just feel sorry for those that don't have food, and so I personally want to give back, but to our school we also want to give back to those that are in need of food.
Belclutha's Salvation Army Food Bank Coordinator Stephanie Bowden says the demand on food banks is growing.
There is a need, and it is growing just at certain times of the year with winter and the extra expenses that people incur at that time of the year.
And organisers expect the number of cans donated nationally to surpass last year's total of 92,000 cans. In Belclutha for the South Today.
Coming up after the break on Southern Newsweek. Hospital patients are treated with a printed out poem with their lunch. And a home in an affluent Dunedin suburb emerges after decades of disrepair. Welcome back. Hospitals around the south treated their patients to a printed out poem with their lunch in celebration of National Poetry Day. Entitled Poems in the Waiting Room, the project aims to help brighten the day of people staying in hospitals.
A poetry card along with her lunch. A Dunedin hospital patient is entertained with a poem entitled Penguins.
Oh, it's really cool. It actually made you smile and, kind of cheers you up. And, kind of not a lot changes in your day. You see the same four walls and, and to actually get something that's a little bit different is quite nice.
Poems for the Waiting Room founder Ruth Arneson says poetry can have a positive effect in a hospital environment.
I just think if you're in there and you're worrying perhaps about what's going to be happening, or you're feeling a little bit down maybe, you've read a poem and you read it and maybe you get a smile, or maybe it just makes you think of something else. It takes your mind away for a minute of what's going on around you.
This is the first year poetry's been brought to hospital patients, but Arneson hopes it will become a regular fixture.
We'll wait till we get some feedback from the hospital about this, and then I'd quite like to make it an annual event, do a collaboration with the hospital.
National Poetry Day was established in 1997 and is held on the fourth Friday of August each year. In Dunedin for the South Today.
An historic Dunedin home is emerging from decades of disrepair in one of Dunedin's most affluent suburbs. The Tolkien Avenue house has been bought by television presenter Melanie Kerr, who now lives in Dunedin.
Busy cleaning her newly acquired home, TV presenter Melanie Kerr putting some elbow grease into restoring a Maori Hill house that's fallen into disrepair. While much of Dunedin's Tolkien Street is decidedly upmarket, Kerr says she stumbled across this 89-year-old rundown mansion while on a 9-month stay in Dunedin.
2 weeks into our 9 months, we just decided we loved it so much, we're never going back to Whangaparoa. And then as it transpires, we found this beautiful home, fell completely in love with her. Very luckily won her at tender, and now for the rest of my life I think I'm going to be rubber gloves on cleaning this baby. So.
Despite the rough appearance, she says the house's bones are still good.
The walls are all straight and true, the doors and windows open easily, and so it's really just kind of superficial and a little bit of modernising, although we're not going to change any of the structure of the homes.
As Kerr and her husband work at clearing the overgrown section and cleaning up inside, she's been enjoying showing the house to interested people.
I don't know, maybe 50 people through in the last week, just passers by saying, oh, we love her, can we have a look? And I'm like, come, I'm so happy to be able to share her with people.
And while the couple could stand to make a profit over the purchase price of $575,000, the plan is to live in it as a family home. In Dunedin, for the South Today.
Masters and their pooches flocked to Chateau Creek recently in a bid to claim the title of top dog. About 20 men and women were involved in the 31st annual Chateau Creek Bar Cup, including the defending champion.
Just some of the contestants in the annual Chateau Creek Bar Cup in the local tavern, where some were more vocal than others, one farmer resorting to singing in an attempt to get his dog to bark. And then there was this dog, not even wanting to stand up, much to the shame of its owner, who has to perform some sort of a forfeit. He climbs onto the table and is presented with some liquid in a dog bowl, and has to bark and then drink from the bowl. Fortunately, other dogs were better behaved, jumping up and barking as required. This year, the Bruce Duncan Memorial Trophy went to Adi van der Voort and his dog Bryn of Ettrick. The criteria is pretty simple. Bark the loudest. It cost contestants $5 to enter the annual event, with proceeds going to Farm Strong, an organisation designed to give farmers the skills and resources to live well, farm well and get the most out of life. In Central Otago, the South Today.
That's all for Southern Newsweek. Head online and check us out on Facebook or keep up with Southern News via our website, channel39.co.nz. I'm Sophie Morris. Thanks for watching.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.